Welcome back to IGN Summer of Gaming Showcase. It's time to talk Starfield, the massively ambitious open-world single-player game from Bethesda. I got to sit down with Starfield's director Todd Howard to try and pry as much as I could out of him after I got a chance to play the game for myself, which I'll talk more about in a bit. So here's the first clip. Full interview is going to air a little later today on IGN. Take a look at this. This is the first new IP you've done in a couple of decades now. It's been a little while. So totally new thing. It's the biggest exclusive for Microsoft in a long time.
These are guided upwards to just these boundless, vast buildings. It's the biggest city we've ever made.
Pressure. Do you, in all seriousness, do you kind of feel any extra pressure compared to any of the other games you've made, or you just kind of focus on what you do? I'm just sort of curious if the stuff that we talk about in the gaming community is something that goes through your head or gets talked about in the office at all.
Well, clearly, I'm aware of that, everything you said. And compared to our previous games, there's always a lot of attention on what we do. We're very fortunate. But for us, we have put so much into this game. And it is, as you said, our first new IP in over 25 years. It's our first major release in about 8 years.
Yeah.
So for us, we have just put so much into it that we're just doing everything we can to make the best game that we can. Hope that everybody loves it. So we feel we're on the right track, and we're really fortunate, I think, with some of those things you said to get the attention.
Yeah.
And that we know there's a lot of people out there looking forward to it, and we just view our job as, hey, just do the best job we can do, put everything we can into the game, and I hope everyone loves it.
That's a little taste of Todd Howard. We've got some more coming up. But first, it was an extraordinarily unique privilege to get to play this game yesterday. So I thought I would let you guys ask me some questions about it. Now, I will preface this, an hour, which I think probably came across in the direct, an hour is nothing. Almost actually nothing in this game. Not to look the gift horse in the mouth of getting to play it for an hour, but yeah, it was not a lot of time to really dig in. I played from the beginning, and then we fast forwarded to we loaded up another save file and kind of jumped along a couple times, but still really, really early. So I'll go to you guys first to let you ask me some stuff, and then we've got some community questions teed up as well. So, Destin,
was it good?
Was it good? Yeah, no, what I will honestly say is, I don't know about you guys, but what I got from the Direct, which I also had a chance to watch the Direct before playing it and talking to Todd so that I could prep better questions for Todd. And what I got from the Direct was that this game is absolutely, the scale and scope of it's insane. And from what little I got to play it for myself, that absolutely comes across. I think people are going to be playing this game for actual years.
Yeah.
No joke.
So maybe you don't know the answer to this, but what PC, do you know what the build of the PC was that you were playing on?
So I played on an Xbox Series
you played
X.
On Xbox.
Yeah, I played on console, which they wanted me to see. Well, and I've got more from Todd about the console side of it coming up. Yeah. Kat?
How far in was the actual demo? Were you starting at the very beginning?
Started from the beginning. Pressing start, opening, title, and then, I don't want to necessarily ruin the opening of it for people.
I bet you get a watch.
I did get a watch, not a real life watch, but yeah, you do get the watch. You get introduced. Yeah,
What was the character you created?
I purposely didn't spend a lot of time in the character creator because I was I knew I only had an hour. I'm I can't, and I'm also never going to see this character ever again. So I ended up just kind of choosing a preset, but I did linger with choosing your background and your traits, and there are actually so many that I don't even remember what I chose, but there's a lot of neat background choices. Now, you heard him say in the Direct you can change them later. There are ways that you can go about changing them. But yeah, I'm really sort of curious how those background characteristics are going to come into play. They gave you a little taste of that in the Direct of you might get a line of dialogue somewhere or what have you. But But yeah, you could spend a lot of time in the very beginning of the game with the character creator and choosing your background and whatnot.
Did you get to experience a story mission start to finish?
Sorry, Destin, one more time.
Did you get to experience a story mission, like start to finish?
No, I was just jumping around.
Okay.
So yeah, that unfortunately was not the case. Let me go now. Let me get the IGN community involved in here.
The biggest one is if there's going to be co-op or multiplayer, which I think.
Oh no, I mean this is this is just like Todd Howard, Bethesda's other games. This is a single-player game that's probably gonna live on for as long as Skyrim has. I mean, based on the amount of content. So let's see. Risk Levo asks, can you talk about your take on the 1,000 planets to explore? I actually kind of see why they went with a 1,000 planets approach, but I want to know how you feel and think about it. So I did a little ship combat. I did a little bit of planet scanning, and then I was in the New Atlantis, like the main city, which I'll talk more about that. But the 1,000 planet thing, I asked Todd, so it's like, how many of them are handcrafted versus procedurally generated? And he said most everything, again, you'll see this in the full interview, but most everything is procedurally generated, but there's like the quests and other things are handcrafted on top of that stuff. So that I found like, okay, that makes sense as how they would handle that. AJ asks, I just want to know if you can explore other worlds like a sci-fi Raylan Givens, or do you have to be an astronaut all the time? And no, you can. I actually think I was saying this to Todd after I finished playing for the hour. I think there are going to be people that never complete the main story. Mm-hmm. Like they'll get entertained, like going off and living, because you can crew your ship. Yeah. You could there's so many other things you can do that aren't the main story in the game that I think there are going to be plenty of people that are going to be like, yeah, I've played 300 hours and I haven't finished the campaign.
Yeah. I feel like I might just live in space, boarding other ships that I see along the way. Like that looks so great.
Like, you can hail them, or you can board. Like I docked with a big freighter ship, and they said, well, can I just go on and shoot everyone? Like, oh yeah, absolutely. So climbed up into the ship, and it was actually a really neat little scenario where on this ship the gravity whatever the gravity generator was on the fritz, so you'd be walking along and then the lights would flicker and the gravity would go off and then you'd start floating. Oh. And so then you're kind of floating around and like you saw in the direct, if you have a shotgun, you'll get blasted back. And then the gravity will come back on and you drop back to the floor. And so that allowed for some fun physics moments where I happen to have a shotgun, and so you just blast the guys and they go.
It's like Star Trek 6 where they're floating through Klingons.
Yeah, so that was really cool. Let's see here. I'll let our social team. Oh, there's we'll get some more comments in here. We've got another minute and a half.
Miranda's in chat, and she actually asked a question that I want to know. She said, did you get any cool dialogue options?
Yes. Yeah, there are definitely. In fact, I think one of the other tweets I saw before we came on the air was
smoochy dialogue options?
Pacifist. People were asking about pacifist options. So what I can say is, when you first, there's a moment early on where you first get a weapon, but you don't have to pick it up. Because you get attacked, and it's minor spoilers, I guess. Shocking, there's combat in this game, but
no.
You have a choice. So you don't have to pick up the gun if you don't want to. And I don't know how far you'll be able to get with just sweet talking people through the conversation options, but it's definitely there. Yeah, it's absolutely there.
Can you romance them?
Well, I didn't see that, but we saw that. That was mentioned in the direct. Yeah, so. Yeah. Yeah, I know Miranda.
I'm going to try and romance as many people as I
possibly
can.
Sure. I mean, well, Destin's our resident Mass Effect super fan, so that was a,
Gotta get all
a memorable component, of Mass Effect.
See, for me, I'm so excited that we can just punch the whole way through, basically. Because you can level, that's how I played Fallout, right?
Yeah.
Max charisma, max strength, so if I can't convince them, I can punch them.
Yeah, I did at one point. I ran out of ammo, but I had an axe on me, and it was very satisfying to just run up to the bad guys and beat them with the axe. All right, enough from me. You want to hear from Todd Howard. Let's take another look at a clip of my conversation with Todd Howard. This one about the game on the Xbox Series X.
You guys have always done post-release content. If you've had like major paid, bigger expansions, you've had smaller scale stuff. I can't imagine that you'd even want to necessarily expand this game geographically moving forward, because there's already a ton there. So like, I know you're not here to just give away announce your post-release plan, but like, conceptually, how are you thinking about it, given that this is like a giant universe rather than just a continent, like in Cyrodiil and in an Elder Scrolls game?
Right, it's a great question. I mean, look, we're going to be doing a lot of add-on content for Starfield. We love doing it. Our fans love it. We will have announced sort of the first one that's going to we're going to do a story expansion pack that's going to be coming. Our plan is to do things of varying sizes. Mm-hmm. And we've done a lot of that in our previous games, so it's something that we really like doing, our fans like. And so despite the size of the game, there's still things we want to add as far as features in the future and stories and things like that. So we think this is going to game, hopefully, that's going to continue for a long time that way.
All right, that was the other one I was going to play for you in a little while, but that's all right. We were going to hear it anyway. So that was Todd talking about the post-release content plans. So you saw it on that sort of end card, that end slate of the Direct was like the first story expansion. So they've got plans. I don't know. I can't imagine they're going to add geography to this game, like Shivering Isles with Oblivion or things like that. But
do you think they could add more planets? Do something like Far Harbor?
We're going 1,010 planets.
I mean, just like they do really good self-contained storylines. Their expansions tend to be pretty varied, right? I mean, if you look back at Fallout 4, there were the additional items, but then you also had things like the Nuka world.
Yes.
They added whole new mechanics. So I would expect a pretty robust offering from Starfield in terms of expansions.
Yeah, I think, to head off what are probably a lot of comments that I can't see right now, I'll give my sort of overall impression of this and then let you guys keep firing away questions and we'll go back to more community ones. But I think my Twitter-friendly summary of, at least again, just scratching the surface of the surface in an hour, to me this feels like No Man's Sky with an entire full Bethesda role-playing game built on top of it. I guess another way you could phrase it would be No Man's Sky 2, in the sense of if there were to be a full sequel to No Man's Sky, well, what would you want? You'd probably want a full story, quests, characters, and that to me is what's going on in this game. It's got all the exploration of No Man's Sky. It's got the mining laser that you zap at rocks to mine resources and other stuff, but there is the entire, Fallout 4-like, Skyrim-like game built on top of it with a ton of different characters. I did get to play a little bit of the main story. They asked me not to, give away anything. I wouldn't want to do that. But I met some of the people from Constellation, which is that's the group of people you're going to be working with. I won't tell you why necessarily, but it becomes obvious in the first, 30 minutes or so of the game. But to me, I think most people would find, Kat, you were giving it a sort of gesture of approval there at the notion that that I think it feels like No Man's Sky with a Bethesda RPG built on top of it.
I mean, I love No Man's Sky and I love the concept behind it because it feels so vast and I like spaceships. Come on, but this is a passion project by Todd Howard. The guy's been talking about this since 1997. And it's clear that they're putting a lot of effort into it. I mean, we think about what do we want out of a video game? So many people want the holodeck game, the everything video game, and it feels like they're really kind of going for that with Starfield. You said, I don't think there's going to be a lot of people who don't finish the story, who just go live in this universe. That's a big Bethesda trait. I never finished Skyrim.
Really?
I moved into the Imperial capital, bought a house,
nice.
Married my werewolf girlfriend, had a great time. Yeah, that was my end game.
So I don't know if you can speak to this, but a lot of people in the chat are asking if there's performance mode because you played on the Xbox. And if you can't say it, that's okay. But
yeah, we'll cue Todd up to talk.
Dan Parkhurst will have it ready for us.
Wow, Destin. Wow,
yeah, that's just like one of the most burning questions that I do see in chat. So
Yeah.
Very excited that you got to talk to Todd about it.
Yeah, he was very gracious with his time, for sure. I think we're a few minutes away. Let me see if we have more community questions.
They were curious if you can interact with like aliens or any sort of alien type species, like there's the Khajiit in the ESO universe.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. You know, it's funny actually. Now that you make me think about it, I don't think I saw any non-humans. I don't know. That's not to say that there aren't necessarily, but from the mostly beginning of the game part that I saw, I did not see any NPCs that were not human. Now, I mean, you saw in the direct there. One of the reasons that I mentioned No Man's Sky is because we saw those sort of fantastical, like alien dinosaur-looking things, and like the kind of creatures, the kind of wildlife that we have seen in No Man's Sky. But yeah, I'm not sure if they have non-human races that'll be sort of a core part of the game or not.
But you can punch the dinosaur aliens, so that's...
Yeah, that's confirmed. I didn't actually do that, but we saw that in the direct. You're pumping iron to get ready.
Yeah.
Wait, so can you have mounts in the game? Do you know that? I know you only got an hour. That's not
didn't
enough
see
time.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a really cool option, though.
What was the favorite thing about your demo experience?
Honestly, it was that it when I first saw the game a while ago, I was worried that the space combat was going to be like kind of like the planet scanning in Mass Effect 2 for resources, where it's like amusing for the first few times and then you just kind of get sick of it and don't want to do it anymore. But like, no, I feel like my sense of it is all the pieces that they've shown are fully fleshed out, that they're not like little like mini games or things that you're gonna tire of quickly. Like, I know, Kat, you were saying that you're super pumped to do the ship building and the ship modding, like, and you can fly around just engaging in ship combat. You can engage in diplomacy by hailing people and trading with them, or you can be a pirate and go board them and take them out and raid their ship.
I can't wait to be a Reaver from Firefly, flying around with a bucket on my head and boarding ships and stealing them. It'll be great.
I got Star Trek The Next Generation vibes from all the space stuff. Like, there's a lot of stories that you can end up stumbling upon by boarding those other ships.
Yeah.
It look like there's friendly people in space, you know? And then you get to like go down to these planets and have these story beats. I think overall, the Starfield showcase, just from my takeaway from it, it was so much better than the previous one, because it really showed that Bethesda DNA and what your experience will sort of be like when you're doing all these different things. And you can kind of play it however you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think for me, the Starfield show, well, okay, we're still going to do more deep dives into Starfield, right?
We got plenty of time. Don't worry about that.
All right, great, cool. Because I can go more into depth on why the first part didn't really hit with me. But it was this part where in space where you can board the ships, you can bring them around, and once you conquer them, you know, it's yours. It didn't really quite hit me that I wanted to play this game until then. So, which we can obviously go into more detail about. But yeah, I don't know.
I hear you on that. Not everything's for everybody, you know? Like, I don't like the building of the outpost aspect. Like, I didn't like that in Fallout 4.
Me neither.
So I imagine I may not do that much in this one. But I love the idea of making a dumb mech ship that flies all weird. Like, that, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally me. So like, I like that it has something for sort of every player.
Yeah, maybe you can make the docking port like the hand on your mech. Just reach out and grab a ship. That'd be cool.
I will say quickly in the last like 20 seconds before we go to our next break, the New Atlantis was probably the highlight of it for me, which was one of the things I was looking most forward to from when they've teased it before. It definitely had like a Mass Effect meets Oblivion vibe, like the Imperial City in Oblivion, the main capital city, where there are tons of NPCs around. You can talk to all of them. Some of them are just like, I don't have anything to say, but you can talk to all of them. And there's multiple districts. You get around by like a subway type system, like that. That to me, it seems like the focus on the major cities. Again, I think I might spend dozens of hours just in those.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's there's so much more to talk about, and we will talk more about Starfield and its huge and kind of scary universe in a bit. Speaking of scary universes, we got to sit down with the team behind the latest game in the Remedyverse, Alan Wake 2. We'll be taking a look at that in a little bit and continuing our Xbox Showcase discussion. But first, a quick break, Summer of Gaming. We'll be right back.